Hello again, everybody. This is Mr. Everything, and I'm coming at you with another channel update for our Wargaming channel. Now, we wargame computer games, miniature games, board games, card games. We do a lot of painting, and we also do terrain building for the miniature games, and we'll do some playthroughs of various games when we go ahead and do those. And I've got a few tutorials on how to play certain games and how to build terrain. Now, in May, or since let me not say May, let me say since the last update, we've had a lot of things happen. One of the things that we've taken on this last May, just right at the end of the month, was the Hail Caesar boot camp. I've just started that. I've only got a couple of videos uploaded at this time, but every day I'm going to be uploading a couple of videos probably until I get this whole book explained in detail for you to see, so you'll know how to play Hail Caesar. In the future, after that's done, I will do probably an army list review and the Age of Caesar campaign book review. I have both of those, and I'll go ahead and do a review of those. All right, now in the meantime, while before I did that, I've actually put together these Macedonian phalangites. I've got them completely 100% done, and I've got I did a Caesarian Roman legion. Okay, I've got them completely done, and then not. I ordered the starter army for the Macedonians, and that should be in probably the 6th, and then D-Day, actually, and then the Romans, I ordered a starter army for them as well, and so that should also be coming in about the same time. And I ordered quite a few Germanic tribesmen and Celts. So I've got some. Just throwing this out there. I don't have the list in front of me, but I've got some Celts, very few, but they're basically going to be the auxiliary for the cav for the Romans. And then I have some Spanish light infantry. I have some Germanic tribesmen, a ton of those actually. I don't plan to do the Macedonians right away. I'm going to put them in a box, put them off to the side. That's going to be a future army that I plan to put together. The Caesarian Romans is going to be my main focus right now, with the ballista, all the generals, the Caesar model, the auxiliaries. Yeah, so the Caesarian Romans are going to be my primary focus. So you'll see a lot of painting of those, as well as armies from the Age of Caesar campaign book, which is primarily, it starts off with the Germanics. So I went ahead and got some Germanics as well. And so you'll see me painting up a bunch of those. I noticed in one of the scenarios there was druids and naked fanatics and all kinds of things. So we're gonna have a fun time this month and probably next month as well. Okay, so that's the armies. I've got Caesar, or Caesarian Romans, Macedonians, which I'm putting on hold, and then the Germanics, right? So we're going to get all those in. We're going to start painting those up. What other projects have I done? Well, I went ahead and finished the decaling of my American paratroopers. Those are finished. In the meantime, I got a Lieutenant Spears figure. It's a promotional figure that if you order a certain amount on the Warlord site, you get a free Lieutenant Spears. I have him. I still have to put him together and paint him. But I also got a 57mm airborne anti-tank gun, which I got to put together. That's going to be these are going to be June projects. I am 99% finished with the Italeri Tiger. It's coming out. It came out really well. I mean, I'll have to explain how I did the paint job and all that, because I did use stencils and sprays. and then I went back and painted over details. But there's a couple of pieces on this that I still want to do, and that's I want to put the camo netting and I want to put some pine boughs on the tank. Um, and that's something we'll do in the future. Okay, so that's a June project as well. It should be good for D-Day, right? June 6th, D-Day. We went ahead and we painted a green dragon. I painted this for my D&D game, not realizing that I really needed a gargantuan one. This could technically be considered gargantuan. I would just need to put it on a bigger base. It's probably not. It's probably just huge. This is probably an adult dragon. I need an ancient dragon. My buddy Mike went ahead and printed me up on his 3D printer. He printed me a paintbrush holder, which I've been using. Been holding my paintbrushes in it. And then what else did we do? Oh yeah, I finished this temple right here, the Greek or Roman temple. There you go. The Greek or Roman temple, that's finished. Months ago, I made about a dozen of these. Maybe not a full dozen. Maybe there's 8 of them or something like that. I don't remember. These were going to be like, these are huts. Like this, if you see on the top, they're supposed to be animal skins laid on top of a disc, and this is basically like could be used in Hail Caesar. I thought about this afterwards. I was like, you know what? That could easily be a Celtic or German hut, from the Middle Ages. All I probably should do is put them on a base so that they lay flat, and make them a little bit more, maybe cut out a doorway, because I don't think I have any doors on these. And I made about 8 of those, so that'd be great. Oh yeah, in the very beginning of the very first thing I did after our last update was I made a bunch of roads. I made some dirt roads, some mud roads, some snow-covered roads. You should check those out. Did some roads. Okay, so let's recap here. I did roads, decaled my paratroopers, the green dragon. I did the Macedonian phalanx. I did the Roman cohort there. I built the temple, and I started my Hail Caesar boot camp. And I touched up a few models here and there, specifically the tank here. And what else should I do? No, let me just think for a second. Oh yeah, the main thing is I've started selling my, and you know this from the last update, I mentioned that I was starting to sell my ancient armies. Well, I have sold all of them. They are all gone. I have no more 15mm ancient figures. I still have a ton of 15mm World War II, as well as 20mm World War II. I was debating on whether or not I wanted to hold on to my 20mm because I had so much of it. I pretty much came to the conclusion that I'm just going to go ahead and sell all my 20mm and 15mm World War II. I sold my naval ships. I sold all the navies that I've had. I've sold. Every one of those is gone. Every one of my micro armor, all of that's gone. Every single bit of, well, no, that's not true. I'd say about 50% of my micro armor is gone. Every piece that I had put on, every piece that I was selling, sold, but I still have a lot more that I need to put up and sell. So yeah, I was able to sell all of that, and what that's doing for me is it's allowing me to get that Macedonian army, that Caesarian army, and the Germanic army. I would not have been able to afford that. I would not have been able to afford that without selling all those figures. Just as a heads up, I'm going to use one army in the very first scenario, the example. The Caesarian army, right? They want you to have, in the book, they want you to have 3 divisions as part of your army, and each division has 5 cohorts. Okay, so 5 cohorts times 3 divisions is 15 cohorts. And even with my reduced figure count for cohorts, I need 15 times 16 figures, right? What is that, 240 figures or something like that? It's up there. Okay, so, or maybe, I don't know what the math is. We'll figure it out. So how many boxes of Roman legionaries did I need just for that first scenario, right? And I'm sure I can use the same legionaries throughout the entire book. So once I get it, I've got it. But let's do some really quick math. I get 1.5 legions or cohorts per box, right? So if I got 10 boxes, that would give me 15, right? 1.5 would give me 15 cohorts. I need 10 boxes. Okay, so you understand what 10 boxes means? 10 boxes at $30 a piece is 300 bucks. That's a lot of frickin' Romans. I'd have 15 of these things, man. The place would be packed. Romans everywhere. Okay, that might be why you need to play on a 6x9 table or whatever they're recommending for that battle. I'm going to this is what I'm going to do. I haven't done this, but what I'm going to do is take the point values of the recommended armies from the Germans. And I'm going to take the point value of the recommended, I wanted to say Russians, but Romans. And then I'm going to see if they're the same. Because like the British, or not the British, the Germans might be like 1,000. And the Romans might be 1,500. Okay, if that's the case, then I'm going to tone it down. So it's going to be, I'm going to figure out what that percentage is. In that instance, it would be 1.5, right? So if I do like, I might do an 800 and then a 1,200, or I might do a 700 and a 1050 or something. So what I'm saying is I am going to try to scale it down. I talked to Mike. He's getting ready to do a Celt army, and I told him that if we play on half the table, which is pretty much what we would be required to do, then we really should go with about half the figures. But the figures are grouped into 3 divisions. So you can't have 1.5 divisions. So you got to have at least 2 divisions, or we could still do 3 divisions. It would just be smaller divisions or something. We'll figure it out. But what I'm trying to say is, I'm not shooting for that 15 cohort Roman army. I can't do it. I'm shooting for like 7.5. I mean, right now everything I've ordered, I've got like 7.5. But remember, 30 bucks a pop, man. That's 200 bucks just on those guys, right? So I could not have afforded that. I just can't afford, even just that whole one side, I couldn't afford that without having sold all my armies. Over time, over the years, I could have collected that. That would have been no problem. I'd grab a box per month or something. Then after a year, I would have been done. But I wanted to do it now. I want to do it yesterday. So yeah, so I took the money that I sold all my armies from, and that was the reason why I sold them. I sold them because I was planning on turning that money around into Hail Caesar. It's that and a percentage. I'm doing like 90% of it is going towards Hail Caesar, and like 10% of it is going towards bolt action, because you don't need as many in bolt action. You only need maybe a tank here, a squad of guys there. You know, I don't need frickin' 200 Roman legionaries, you know, like I do in Hail Caesar. Okay, well, why did this is just something, I'm throwing this out there. I noticed that you could get army lists, right? Starter armies, I should say. They have starter armies. And I kind of did some math about it, and I was like, the starter army doesn't really save you much. It doesn't. I noticed that like on $120 starter army, I was saving about $10. Still $10, don't get me wrong, that's $10. But I'm not going to get a starter army if it doesn't have everything in it that I'm already going to buy. So, like, if it had 2 boxes of Roman legionaries, a general, and a scorpion, which it does, and maybe some cav. I think it has some. Maybe it doesn't have any cav. I don't remember what it has. And then I looked at what I needed, and I said, "Oh yeah, I need every one of those for this scenario. I need it. So get the army because that saves you $10. But if my scenario said, or my army that I was designing did not have a need for that elephant or whatever, then don't get the Macedonian starter army because it comes with an elephant. But if you're not going to use it, don't do it. Just get them separately. Because think about this: the elephant being $40, right? $40 for one model. It's not really one model. It's a model with a thing on the back and a bunch of guys in this little turret on the back of this elephant. Okay, I'm sure the elephant's probably that big. It's probably this big monster figure. I can only imagine the elephant being like this big. Okay, it's $40, right? And it's included in the Macedonian army. But if you're not planning on getting an elephant, take that $40 you would have spent on the elephant, don't buy the army, and buy the box sets individually. And that way, it might cost you, okay, it might cost you for the same amount of models $10 more, but then you're saving $30 from the elephant. And you weren't going to get it anyway. So technically it's saving you $30. Just what I'm trying to say is look at the armies, see if that's what you need, then get them. Don't just get the army because that's what they recommend or that's what's included. It's not a big savings. It's almost no savings. I looked at one of the armies and it was just I got some decals for free. So the miniatures cost exactly the same, but you get some decals for free. That's cool. Don't get me wrong, that's cool. But is it worth it? Were those the decals you were going to be using, or were you already going to use these other decals? You know, so that's some things you got to consider. And that's a topic of a whole nother subject about building your army, and that's going to be part of the Hail Caesar boot camp when I get towards the end. We're going to be talking about building armies. But that's where I am. When I went to get my armies, my Macedonians, my Romans, and my Germans. Okay, it's great to have Macedonians, but the Macedonians didn't really fight against the Romans. I mean, we can hypotheticalize and make it a battle, but if I do the Macedonians, I really need to do the Persians, right? Because their big battle, their big name to fame was the big battle with Darius and all that, right? Where he had his chariots and yeah, that big battle. But the Persians and the Macedonians seem to have like this thing, and the Caesarian Romans, they kind of went north into Gaul, into Germany, into Britain. They took that whole thing, right? Where if I was doing Republican Roman, I might want to do like the Carthaginians as their opponent, right? So the Macedonians and the Romans are not really opponents. They're probably the peak of each of their eras. But you got to, in my opinion, because I like to be the referee, I like to put both armies on the table at the same time. If I'm going to be doing Romans, which I am, I'm going to do Caesarian Romans, I need to have something for them to go against. And guess what? It's the Germanic, Celtic tribes. I'm going to do some Celtic, some British, because they're all so super similar. I could take some British guys and put them on the table and say, oh, today, those guys are German. Because they're just different poses. But But I'm getting a little bit of everything, so we'll see. And that should be on the 6th, which is only about a week away. Not even a week. Today's Saturday, so it's like 3 days away. And when they show up, my next day off, I'll do like an unboxing video, first impressions. It'll probably be second impressions because I'll probably have already opened the boxes and looked at them. But I'm going to open it up and let you guys see them. Okay, now, something you might have noticed is I bought a box of French infantry from Napoleonics from them for black powder, because we're going to do some black powder. Well, guess what? My black powder army is American War of Independence. I've got both colonials as well as the British. Those French are from Napoleonics. And I was going to do like, and I think I'll look at them right there. I was going to do like a little bit of French and British, maybe Peninsula War, maybe what do you call it? Maybe Waterloo, Quatre Bras, something super small, not skirmish level, but at least a small, maybe one division against one division or something like that. Just to get my feet wet in the bolt action Napoleonics. But I'm putting that on the back burner. That is going to be done probably before I even do my Macedonians, honestly. I'm going to do the Romans, the British, the Germans. I keep saying British because I'm thinking Britain and you know, Boudica and all that. But it's the Romans and the Germans. Get that done. Start playing. Play with my American War of Independence figures and bolt action. Get that playing. And then I'll make a decision to continue with, you know, I got to do the elephant. I got to do that. But I'm going to, because actually the Romans can use the elephant. But, okay, the Macedonians, and I'm going to put them on the back burner as well as the French and the British Napoleonics, because that's another investment. You know, I got to do the Romans and the Germans, Germanic tribes, the Gallic tribes, you know, and I don't really have any interest in biblical. So just throwing this out there to you guys so you know not to expect it on my channel. I don't expect to see me paint any Egyptians, any Hittites, Assyrians. You're not going to see that from me. You will see antiquity. You'll see Greeks. You'll see Persians, Macedonians. You'll see Thracians and Spartans and Thessalians, Balearic slingers. You're going to see Agemas, Agrarians. You're going to see the Iberians, were Spanish. You're going to see the Carthaginians. You're going to see all of that, you know, 1st, 2nd, 3rd BC, right? You're not going to see so much of the 6 BC stuff. That's not 5th and 6th BC. That's not me. The 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, yes. A little bit of AD, yes. You're going to see a little. Oh, I even considered just yesterday. Just so you know, I was considering getting the armies for, or at least a beginner, a starting point, like one box of each, of the Agincourt, basically the 100 Years' War. 100 Years' War? No, 100 Days' War. Okay, 100 Years' War? 100 Years' War. 100 Days' War's Napoleon, right? Get those two mixed up. But it's basically English against French at Agincourt. Why? Well, first of all, they're just medieval knights, so they're cool. They're super easy to paint. Metal, done, right? But there's archers, there's knights, there's foot knights, men at arms, squires, you know, all that, crossbowmen. They even have that's when you can use like trebuchets and yeah, it just is a whole nother, it's a whole nother level. It's a whole nother um, period that I'm interested in. And so I thought about getting them, but I said, hold up, back it up, Derek, back it up. I'm already putting a lot of money into Caesar, and I still don't even have everything I need. So don't jump into a whole nother project before I get these Caesar guys done. Mike keeps telling me at work, he keeps saying, focus on one thing, concentrate. And I'm like, okay, yeah. So that's what I'm doing, Caesar. All right, guys. If you guys have any comments or you have any questions, or remember, if you want to see me do any type of terrain, oh yeah, upcoming events, upcoming. I did not make it to Walker Stalker this weekend. Apparently, there's a problem with my ticket. We got a receipt for the ticket, but we didn't actually get the ticket. So apparently, there's supposed to be an email supposed to have came to me or my wife in June. We looked through the emails, we never saw it, and so there was no way for me to print it. So I got denied, didn't get to go to Walker Stalker. But you know what? I really wasn't too excited about going there. That is not something that I would have ever have gone to without it being a gift. One reason why is it's a convention about zombies, and I'm not really into zombies at all. I am into The Walking Dead. Don't get me wrong. I love The Walking Dead and all the actors and all that stuff. The storyline. I love The Walking Dead. But I'm not a zombie guy. I could care less about zombies. I like the story. The zombies in The Walking Dead is a backstory, and that's a whole nother topic of a whole nother. I even thought about getting The Walking Dead game. So that's a by who is that? Mantic. That's a cool game. I watched a couple of games of that, and I thought that was pretty exciting. Okay, back up. Future projects. Let me finish my Hail Caesar bootcamp. Then I'm going to jump into the Hail Caesar scenario book and the army lists. Those are two different books. I'm going to make a Roman ruin. I've got some shorter columns, and I'm going to make like a little ruin area that's basically just going to be kind of like a rubbled, ruined area. It's really in the Hail Caesar, it's just going to be a terrain piece, but rough ground or whatever. But I could use it in bolt action or something. I could use it in my D&D game. Whatever. That's a project for that. And then I'm going to do, what else are we going to do? Yeah, you're going to see a lot of painting on the Rome. You're not going to see a lot of painting. I'll just update you as I paint, because if I have to paint 15 units like this, I'm not going to videotape and put up on the channel 15 units. Okay, there's no need. You've already got the full, from start to finish, how to paint these guys. Okay, if there's any changes or any modifications or anything like that I do, I will videotape that and put that up. Bolt action. I'm going to put these guys together, and I'm going to finish up the tank, and I might do one more of these, or at least I base these up on something. There is something that I'm trying to remember. There was a building I needed to do. Or remember. Okay, this month there's going to be a building I'm going to do. It's not really a building. It is a building. It's a fortification. It's the Roman, I don't know, it's not a mile fort, because that's what I did last month, which was that square tower thing. This is going to be one of those campaign forts, or on the march forts. You know how like the Romans would march from point A to point B, and when they got to point B, they would build a fort. They would camp inside. And then when they got ready to move out, they would undo the fort or whatever, pack it up, and then they would move to the next spot and then build the fort again. I need to build one of those. And I think and all it's really going to be is 4 walls. Maybe one of the walls will have a door in it. It's going to be elevated like on a berm, and it's going to have like a wooden palisade. And it's basically just going to be 4 sides. And I don't think I'm going to make it as one piece, like a 12 by 12 box. I think I'm going to make individual walls so that if I wanted to ever, I could make them a straight line. But I've got to, if I do individual straights, then I've got to figure out a way to do the corner. All right, guys, sorry for that interruption. That was a, my wife got home with some groceries and stuff. We had to unload it. But let's talk about those walls, right? I've got to make some walls. I think they need to be about 12 inches long. And I need to make corners as well. So what I could do is take those 4 walls, I could put them end to end and make a 4-foot length, but or I could butt them up against the edge of a table, and I could go 1 foot in and then 2 foot across and 1 foot out. I could make like a little piece like that, or I could go from make it in a corner, easy like that. But what I think I need to do is to make like 4 walls, because it needs to be able to be put in the middle of the table. One of them needs to have a door, gatehouse or gate on it, and then maybe in the 4 corners make little towers or something, and then those towers could be used as depending on how I make them, they would probably only be used as corners and not as straightaways. I couldn't put 2 straights and a tower in between. I'll have to think about that. I'm going to see if there's a way I can go about doing that. But that's my next project. That Roman fort is actually the next project. The ruins, that's down the road. That's going to be sometime this month. And then all those miniatures that I'll be getting in the next few days is going to really tax my time, basically. All right, so thanks for coming out and checking out this video. I really appreciate you guys. If you like my channel and you want to help support me, please do. You can hit the PayPal me link in the description below. If you like this video, go ahead and hit the like. And if you want to subscribe to my channel, that way you'll be up to date on all the new uploads that I do. Please do. And if you want anything specific from me, if you want anything from me, please put it in the comments. Okay, put something in the comments, like if you want me to do some Carthaginians, or if you want me to do that elephant in detail, or if you want me to do anything like the Germans, right? Let's say you want me to paint up just a standard hair troop, or if you want me to put together a colonial house for American War of Independence, or if you want me to make some fencing, because like I made these fences a long time ago, and I never really televised it. But I can make fences. I can make all kinds of different things. Just let me know what you're looking for. If you don't let me know, then I'm just going to start putting out stuff that I want to do and what I'm adding on to my collection. So, but I'm going to show you all about it so that you know what it is. But yeah, so let me go ahead and continue on with my Hail Caesar boot camp. I've got to finish up some of that. So I'll catch you next time.